What is up, Cube friends? We're here with another team draft. Gonna run LSV's Cube back today. Let's dive right in. Let's take a look at pack 1. So no immediate actual power here. My highest picks are looking like City of Traders, which is really powerful fast mana, Fable the Mirror Breaker, which is just an immensely powerful and versatile card, Wooded Foothills, which keeps us really open, and Mana Drain, which I think might be the highest power ceiling card here, barring weird build-arounds like Chaos Defiler. This is an interesting pick. I think I'm going to go ahead and draft the Wooded Foothills. A lot of these cubes don't break singleton on fetch lands, and I have always felt like I don't have enough of them, so I'm going to draft it very highly. Etali Primal Conqueror, probably the best cheat target in the cube. Another fetch land here in Marsh Flats, but it doesn't overlap with our Wooded Foothills at all. Generous Ent is kind of like a fetch land, but not quite as powerful. On the other hand, it does overlap with our Wooded Foothills in a sense. I think I'm going to draft this Marsh Flats. It's so likely that I include these fetch lands in my deck that I think using early picks on them is almost always worth it. Now we see 3 out of the 10 dual lands all in the same pack. The only one here that we can fetch with both of our fetch lands is Badlands. So locking ourselves into red-black is a little bit weird with no actual spells in our pool, but I'm scared that we're not going to be able to find enough fetchables with 3 dual lands in this pack right here. Kind of a weird start to a draft. I think I'm gonna go with it and see how it goes. Ooh, okay. And we're rewarded with a Grief, which I think is one of the stronger black cards in the cube. Red is definitely starting to dry up though, so we could start thinking about, that is, a black deck that is not red but splashes red, perhaps, since our fixing is pretty set up here. I do think Grief has got to be the pick here. Palantir is more open, but seeing Grief this late makes me confident that we'll see more black cards, and the more black cards you have in your deck, the better Grief is. So let's pick that up. Archon is here. That's a late Archon, I think. That signals to me that the players passing to me are not interested in moving into a cheat deck. I think Archon is still one of the best cheat targets in the cube. It's also not legendary. It's pretty hard to remove. It doesn't get Karakas, anything like that. Let's grab this. Toxic is another very strong black card, and I'm starting to see that green is pretty open here. Sowing Mycospawn is a new card that I'm pretty excited about. It's kind of like a weird Primeval Titan, or maybe halfway between Golos and Primeval Titan. Not really sure how to think about this card, but it does fetch a land, and it can put you up 2 lands if you spend all 6 mana on it by way of destroying one of your opponent's lands, or exiling it in this case. In any case, I'm going to grab this Toxic, because it's black, and it's good. Okay, green continues to be quite open here. I also want to make note of that Stomping Ground we saw in the last pack, which can help fix us into green with our Wooded Foothills, perhaps. I am just going to grab the Infernal Grasp. I think this card is better on average than Baleful Mastery. That's kind of an interesting question. This one exiles and also hits Planeswalkers. Maybe that's better, and sometimes it doesn't give them a card. Ooh, okay, and here's Taiga. So Taiga can be fetched with Wooded Foothills, but not with Marsh Flats. But noticing all the green that's going around, we could try and capitalize on that a little bit. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to move these over into the sideboard. Okay, Glorybringer is still here. That's interesting. We could be black-red splashing green, perhaps, or we just grab the Dark Confidant and continue to have strong black cards in our deck. That card can still ding us for 8 with Archon of Cruelty in our deck, but I think it's powerful enough that we still just draft it. A lot of the time it's just going to eat removal anyway. Underground Mortuary turns both of our fetch lands into green sources as well. Trying to go full Jund here, maybe? Hostile Investigator is a nice clean 2-for-1. Elves of Deep Shadow is fast mana though, which is often really good. I think we're trying to move a little mid-rangey here. I wonder if the Scion of Draco makes the cut with enough high-quality fixing. Garruk Wildspeaker might be the kind of card that we want to be in green for. Like, we're not really ramping here, but we have these interesting green mid-range payoffs. There's also value to staying base black because we want to be able to pitch cast the Grief. Fel the Profane is really strong. Being able to just play that in a land slot. Snuff Out is also free interaction, which I value very highly. I think I'm going to draft the Snuff Out here. Emperor of Bones is a cool card that I haven't played with yet. Ooh, okay, Lelia, Chariot, Hexdrinker. All really compelling options. Blood Tithe Harvester is also pretty good. Let's see. We are mostly green at this point. Chariot is also a good card to kind of take control over the mid game in a mid-range deck. Hexdrinker would be our only 1-drop right now. We're a little light on that, and it's also a great mana sink into the late game. I think I'm going to draft the Hexdrinker. I feel like the Chariot is at least a little bit more likely to come back. Although there are so few green cards here that I wouldn't be anticipating it. Okay, Utopia Sprawl is ramp and fixing. Scavenging Ooze is potent graveyard interaction. Utopia Sprawl only enchants forests, so that's a little tough if we're going to continue trying to be mostly black, and especially if we're going to try and find the red splash. So I think I might draft this Scavenging Ooze. I do really like having some kind of plan against graveyard decks. Wow, that is a late Palace Jailer. And a late Uro for that matter. We saw a couple of blue sources. We saw an Underground Sea, and we also saw there's this Undercity Sewers here in the pack. We have 2 fetch lands. I do kind of want to squeeze the Uro into this deck and move into Bug. We've got the Rafine's Tower as well. I think we might be able to do it. Got the Taiga. We've got the Underground Mortuary. The mana's going to be a little bit weird, but I don't know. The safe pick is definitely Nurturing Peatland. Alright. This pick is a little weird. I don't really want any of these cards, honestly. Huh. Alright, I think I'm going to draft this. Well, okay, Indotha Triome is legitimate fixing for us because of the fetches. Life Death is pretty good here. We have nothing yet to reanimate the Archon with. And sometimes you just kill your opponent with life, you know? Ooh, okay. A bunch more reasons to try and shift into blue. Nadu, Baleful Strix, Thief of Sanity. Let's spec on the Nadu, I guess. I don't think it's likely that we play basically any of these cards, but Nadu is the one I feel most likely to splash for. Poseidon is pretty free. doesn't take up a deck slot and is nice interaction. So I think we can grab that. Okay, the Sandstorm Salvager came back. I think this card is pretty neat. The Bitter Triumph comes back around. That's not only a premier removal spell, but also a way to discard our Archon. Alright, we might want the Utopia Sprawl if we're going to be just green-black here. Doomsday. Well, it might turn into something. We'll see. We might play this. Probably not. The Mightstone and Weakstone. This deck is really not currently doing anything particularly impressive. It's the age-old good green and black cards cube deck. Yeah, I guess. We're probably going to draft the Grist here. I really wish we had that Green Suns now. That's unfortunate. I don't think we need the Bayou at this point. We're pretty rolled up on fixing. Yeah, gonna grab this Grist. Ooh, this is a bunch of good cards. Okay, so Bristly Bill is a card that I like a lot. Yeah, I think it's gotta be Bill. It's like between Bill and Gitrog. But let's go with Bill. Gitrog is also way more likely to wheel since it's multicolored. Natural Order and nothing to get with it. Gristlebrand. Bristleblood Farmer. Bristleblood Farmer is pretty good here. It's just an above rate creature that potentially mills the Archon or something like that. I wish we had one more way to try and cheat this Archon in. We could draft Carnage Interpreter as well, which could be a mono black card in our deck. And that's a way to discard the Archon. Okay. I don't hate that. This card's also just immensely powerful on its own. 3 mana 5/5 with Menace. Ooh, okay. Necromancy is here. So we now have roughly 2 discard outlets and roughly 2 Reanimator spells. We could also try that Shifting Woodland again. This card was kind of a banger in my last draft. Misty Rainforest also crazy good with Bill. This pack is stacked for us. I wonder if we can wheel the Shifting Woodland. I don't think people realize how good that card is yet. And we also seem to be like probably one of 2 green drafters at the table. Necromancy also hits opponent's creatures, which is pretty sick as well. Just very good in the mirror. Let's grab this Elvish Mystic. Other option is Craterhoof Behemoth, but we're not rampy enough. We don't have the Natural Order. Even if we did have the Natural Order, I don't think we're really a Craterhoof Behemoth deck. I'd rather get that mana advantage. Nissa Ascended Animist is a pretty sick magic card. But I'd rather have ramp targets that can be reanimated with Necromancy or Life Death, I think. Putting me more towards Gruff Triplets. Nature's Lore is also just really good. Consistent ramp. Puts the land right into play. I think we can find other top-end pieces besides Nissa, even though that card is quite strong. Exhume. Okay, now we're the only Reanimator deck. By my read. I'm just going to draft the Exhume. Now I would like maybe one more thing to reanimate. And a couple more ways to discard stuff. I have no idea what Huali does. Oh, let's try this new card. I've heard some interesting things about this card. It's like a weird ramp spell that also gives you a mid to late game plan. Gives you, honestly, the option of casting your Reanimator spells, which is pretty cool. Okay, not much here for us. Crucible of Worlds is probably the card that's most likely to make my deck, but I don't think it's very likely to make my deck. Still going to draft it. This is an 8-player team draft, so I'm pretty low on trying to hate draft here. I'm not even going to play against all of my opponents. The natural order is still here. I still don't think we really want it, honestly. I think it's between Sentinel and Bristlebud, and Bristlebud can mill stuff, which I think is relevant. If we get that Gruff Triplets back, that'd be cool. Ooh, we got the Woodland back as well. As predicted, I don't think people are high enough on this card yet. Craterhoof comes back. I don't think we're playing it, but it is the best card here for us. And I think the next pack was the Gruff Triplets pack. Yeah, okay. That's an important pickup here, I think. Land Grant. I'm really surprised by this card. Is this card good? Okay, with 25 spells here, I think I'm probably going to... I think I only want to cut one card here. That'll bring us up to 16 lands, Elvish Mystic, Utopia Sprawl, and Nature's Lore, which I think is probably fine. I don't actually know what the cut is here, though. All the cards are pretty good. We also have Fanatic of Ronus as a ramp spell. Maybe it's okay to play 15 lands and 2 1-mana ramp spells in this deck. I think I should go up 1 land from there, honestly. I think the cut is going to end up being Bob, now that we have gotten a little taller. I think that's totally fine. Okay, so the lands here, we're going to play the Foothills, we're going to play the Marsh Flats. I don't think it's worth playing the Taiga for any reason here. Okay, the Taiga does make the Marsh Flats get untapped green. No, that's not true. That card doesn't do that at all. It's Drew of Badlands for Foothills, though. So this can turn the Badlands can turn the Foothills into an untapped black source. So that's worth playing. The Mortuary is definitely good. The Indotha Triome is definitely good. The Nurturing Peatland is definitely good. The Seiju get in there. Yavimaya get in there. Shifting Woodland get in there. But yeah, no real reason to play the Taiga in this deck, I don't think. There's like some incredibly marginal upside on casting Carnage Interpreter when I only have 1 black source in play, but that feels not good to me. I also think the Rafine's Tower is probably incorrect. It does not fix mana, so it would just be there as a cycling black source that comes in tapped, and that also doesn't seem very good. Alright, that's looking pretty good to me. Let's make sure the basics are right here. So, yeah, 4-3 is probably fine. Most of the double pit black spells we're actually playing, we aren't really trying to cast a lot. Grief can be pitch cast and reanimated sometimes. Archon is not likely to be put onto the stack, mostly. So, this looks pretty good. So that's again going to be 16 lands plus Elvish Mystic plus Utopia Sprawl. I think that's totally fine. Yeah. Let's ship it. Alright, and we are on the play in match 1 against Lolcats 666. This hand has 2 lands, 1 drop, 2 drop. Yeah, I like this. Gonna keep it. I think I am going to run out the Hex Drinker. Even if they have an answer to it, we might find ourselves in a situation where we want to death it back. Not sure. All right, a basic mountain from opponent. And perhaps a removal spell. Nope, it's a Skull Clamp. All right, there's our land, so that's good. That means I don't have to commit mana to leveling up the Hex Drinker on this turn. I can do it all on turn 3. We can play the Scavenging Ooze here. Still no, like if we sequence it this way, then we don't have a swamp for Snuff Out. I guess that is, it could potentially punish us, but we'll see. Mana Vault. That makes me feel like opponent does not care that we have a Hex Drinker. Ooh, okay. So I get to block, and then I get to snuff out the Rabble Master and just kind of clock in. I might get punished here if they choose to equip. Oh no, they let their mana drain. Alright, doesn't matter. Yeah, so this is going to be fetch, double, or triple activate the Hex Drinker, kill the Rabble Master, and go from there. I'm going to grab the basic swamp. Going to activate this 3 times. Going to cast by paying 4 life, the Goblin Rabble Master, and Kraken for 6. Okay, they're out of here. So opponent looks like probably red-white aggro with the Skull Clamp and the Rabble Master. Not sure what the Mana Vault means for us. It could have just some big red or white creature, like we saw that Othari go by, for example, and I could be convinced that Mana Crypt is good with that card. We've once again found ourselves in a spot where there's not a whole bunch of stuff in our sideboard to actually bring in. I think one of the downsides of being a drafter like me who prioritizes lands very, very highly is that you usually don't end up with a bunch of agency in your sideboard decisions. That's something I've noticed recently and have thought about what the implications of that are. It's pretty interesting. In any case, we're going to run this deck back because we don't have much in our sideboard. And we'll be on the draw in this game. So let's take a look. 3 lands, 3-drop we can't cast off of our 3 lands. I don't think this is going to be fast enough against what our opponent is doing, unfortunately. It does have all the pieces to put a Gruff Triplets onto the battlefield on turn 4, except for that second black source. Kind of interesting. Oh no, because we pitched the Necromancy to the Interpreter, so that's not even true. Alright, never mind. I think this is definitely a mulligan. Okay, this looks way better. Turn 1 Utopia Sprawl, turn 2 Grist probably. Yeah, this is great. I think I'm going to put the Grief back. I really don't want to pitch the Grist to it, and while it will be good eventually... well, okay, so Grist is our 3-drop and Sandstorm Salvager is redundant with that plan. Okay, let's pitch the Salvager so that we can curve Grist into Grief. That seems pretty good. We are going to name black with our Utopia Sprawl here, just in case we want to eventually cast that Grief. And of course, the Yavimaya makes it obvious that we should name black, because we have access to as much green as we want. Spell Bomb, okay. Ooh, Bristly Bill. Maybe we just cast that now, play the Yavimaya, cast the Hex Drinker. They can trade the Spell Bomb for the Hex Drinker. Oh, they can respond to the Bristly Bill trigger by killing the Bill. But maybe that's actually good. Maybe trading the Bill with the Pyrite Spellbomb and leaving them dead to Hex Drinker is better. Fascinating. Let's give that a try. I think getting them to spend the removal spell on something besides Hex Drinker is actually good. Target Bill. Yep. And then we're going to go ahead and slam the Hex Drinker. Next turn we can level it up all the way if we want, or all the way to 4, that is. Or we can grief them if they have a removal spell for it. Feeling pretty good. Crack the Clue. That's good news for us, I think. There's Path. I would love to search my library for a basic land. And now we're just going to go ahead and cast the Grief. What do we got? What on earth is this? When Emberwild Captain enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Oh. That player, interesting. Do I want the Monarch to be in this game? I think I might, honestly. The Restoration Angel is a little scary because it has a big butt as far as this Toxic goes. I think if we take the Resto, we could maneuver ourselves into a situation where we have the Monarch and then we get to Toxic them. No, maybe we just don't want the Monarch here. We're winning the long game. We have this Grist. We have this Toxic Deluge. All right. Monarch out of here. Okay, they played a Plains. So that's what they drew for turn. Play the Blade Splicer. So this gives me an opportunity to play the Grist, make a blocker. They can't flash in the Resto. And then if I wipe the board and they flash in Resto, it attacks Grist for only 3. And then I can kill it. We could Grist now. If we Grist now, sack Grief, kill... No, because then we can't block. We Grist now, we +1, it goes to 4. We block. It goes to 3. And then if we wipe the board and make a 1/1, then we get to keep the Grist after the Resto attacks it once. I think I did that math correctly. We're actually going to go ahead and not cast the Scavenging Ooze here because we're planning on Toxicking next turn probably. Yeah, so next turn we can Toxic and then cast the Scavenging Ooze and make a 1/1. Okay, Mountain's gone. So they've got 2 cards, one of them is Resto. gonna block here. I kind of want to cast the Toxic for X's 4, just in case some weird stuff happens with the resto. Like if they decide they want to cash their Thraben Inspector in for a clue or something like that. Okay, and then this is just going to be +1 here, and Scavenging Ooze. We even get to keep an activation up. So they can bring in the resto. The resto attacks the Grist for 3, but then it dies. I guess that kills the Grist. Okay. Maybe that's fine. Ooh, okay. That's really bad, actually. Oh, they have another spell? Holy crap. Okay, that's really bad. Okay, well, that's a nuts last 2 cards to have. Now I'm probably not even going to be able to activate the Grist. Okay, that targets Resto. Resto is going to bring Grist down to 4. Or sorry, attack for 4 down to 1. Oh, they can. Oh, they don't have anything to discard. Okay, so they can't kill the Grist here. I at least get to have my last 1/1. And then in the end step, I will exile one of their creatures, gain a life, and get a counter. Shifting Woodland. That is pretty good here. So we can turn it into a Bill if we want, or a Grief. Does it this Oh no, we don't have Delirium right now. We have Creature, Land, Sorcery. Okay. But Grist is going to die. Let's make our bug. We might even mill something cool here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total mana. So we're still pretty far away from being able to turn the Shifting Woodland into a Bill and then also activate it. We're also about to flip this Reckless Stormseeker because we don't have any spells to play this turn. But honestly, that's probably fine. The Scavenging Ooze is functionally enormous right now. We can make it up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if we need to. And the threat of activation there is probably more important than... like the threat of activation is such that we probably aren't going to have to exile our own creatures. We are going to lose the Grist here, but I think we're winning the race. Tragically, Shifting Woodland does not work very well with Planeswalkers, unless you want to pay 4 mana to put it directly into your graveyard. But it will turn on Delirium when Grist dies. Grist is a creature when it's not on the battlefield, but it remains a Planeswalker. Okay, opponent has made a 5/4. Looks like they're planning on discarding their card to Inti, most likely. Okay, Inti trigger is good. They chose not to discard anything. So let's grab their creatures here. 5, and I think I am less concerned about the grief than I am about the bill. Yeah. So I'll take my own grief here. And now I'm going to go ahead and block. Unexpectedly absent. Okay, I am going to exile the rest of their cards in response. Oh, and the creature has trample. Is this attacking me or Grist? They're attacking me with it. Okay, pretty good. Bristlebud Farmer. That's good. That is a good draw. The food tokens are going to be pretty important here. The 5/5 body is going to help with the race. Return any permanent card too. We can get the Grist back. So if they swing with their big creatures, trample and haste until end of turn, yeah. So they can crack in, but if I get a good attack with the Bristlebud Farmer, then I can get the Grist back and start killing their things. I do kind of need them to whiff on this impulsive draw here. Skullclamp is not exactly a whiff. But whatever they put it on, I can kill the other thing with Grist. I'm going to have to gain 3 life here, probably. So if I do attack with the Bristlebud Farmer, I'm going to leave myself open to quite a lot of damage. They put it on the Inti. So if I kill the Stormcharge Slasher, I take 4. But if they choose not to kill the Grist, Okay, I'm gonna eat a food here. I have to do that to stay alive. The other food I need to get Grist back to kill. Ooh. Okay. I should mill first, just in case I hit something crazy. They are going to draw 2 cards when Inti dies, if they choose to block. Okay. Wait, that's actually not how this card works, is it? Yeah, okay. From among the milled cards. Okay, I was misevaluating this line. I would like to sacrifice a food regardless, because I do need something. So the Scavenging Ooze can go back to my hand, and then we can actually exhume the Grist. They blocked, okay. Oh, now they get the Inti back. Oh, I can Scavenging Ooze it first, though. Yeah, let's activate this targeting the Inti, and then we can go ahead and cast Exhume. Combo. Gonna grab Grist. And we're gonna have to sacrifice the Grist here, I think. Gonna have to kill the Slasher. Giving whatever they draw haste is just really scary. Sacrifice a creature. And place this triggered ability onto the stack targeting their crazy Slasher. They can hit me for 5. I'm at an effective 9 right now with the Scavenging Ooze on board. And if they do go for me, then I get to uptake the Grist again. Yep. That one kills me, I think. Yeah, almost certainly, right? Resto gets double strike, I go up 9, I can't even block it. Okay. Once again, not much to bring in here. Yeah, let's just run it back. I would love to be on the play. But not with this functional 0 lander, for the most part. I'm gonna mulligan this one. Got all of our good early drops, but nothing to cast them with. This hand looks pretty good to me. I'm just gonna put a swamp back. We can get the Underground Mortuary in the end step here. And if we're lucky, we might find something juicy to target with Life Death on top of our library. Mana Vault, scary. Nature's Lore. We already have a ramp spell to cast on turn 2 and another one to cast on turn 4, so I'm just going to bin this. Punished. That's alright. Here's our cool new Fanatic of Ronus. So this guy's neat because when you eternalize it, it turns itself on. I think it taps for 4. Oh, here's the Monarch thing. Scary. Yeah, I don't have an answer to this. Besides, like, a bunch of beasts. Oh, that's kind of a funny answer for a ramp spell. Alright, we are going to make a Garruk, and we are going to make a beast. That's what we got. I'm not sure how we're going to beat this Monarchy, unfortunately. Damage equal to the number of cards in their hand. I think if they attack Garruk, we just have to not block and try to take the Monarchy back. This is pretty rough. And then if they have a removal spell, we're basically just dead. Yeah, that's really bad. Well, we can cast Grief. We should do this differently. Let's enchant this. Oh no. Ugh. Alright, messed it up. Have to enchant something that I'm not tapping. I clicked it twice. Okay, well, now we can't even cast the Grief. We can't. Yeah, this is bad. This is very bad. I'm gonna cycle this. Okay, that might be something. Chock full of Reanimator spells and nothing to do with them. I think we need to draw exactly Grist and then mill exactly Archon if we want to get out of this. Yikes. I guess Toxic, kind of. Yeah, now Toxic just draws them a bunch of cards. Yeah, we're just totally dead. Priestly Bill, not gonna do it. Oh, they'll keep taking their creatures. They have a removal spell in hand that kills all of the things that I just did. And they do continue to have the Monarch. Mana Vault brought them all the way down to 17. Yeah, I'm just gonna take, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can block the Rabble Master if they attack with it. Oh, they drew a Lelia. And they hit a Johnny. Okay, they're not going to be able to cast that, which is good. But I'm dead anyway. 4, 5, 6, put me down to 12. And okay, let's see. Necromancy can get Lelia. It can also get Emberwild Captain. That's kind of interesting. What if I take the Monarchy and then grief them? How's that? I think it might be a little too late here. But I am going to become the Monarch. I'm going to draw one more card. I'm going to make another blocker. Death. Target. Grief. And I will take one of their cards in hand. That's a good one. Hex Drinker. Alright, I mean, we're not literally dead. They're guaranteed to take the Monarchy back here. My blocks kind of suck because of the Blade Splicer. Yeah, that's probably going to do it. Okay, well, at least now I don't even have to think about how I'm going to block. Yeah, I'm just dead on board. Alright, GG's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. Put me to -3. Alright, we are on the play in match 2. It looks like the team draft is currently tied up at 2-2. For those of you playing along at home. Once again, okay, we can't turn 1 the Hex Drinker here off the Marsh Flats. I am still going to keep this. I think the turn 2 Fanatic of Ronus should be enough to carry this hand. The card quality is really high. We've got removal. And we're going to surveil 1 here. Utopia Sprawl is not very good here. Just going to bin that. And we can go ahead and shifting Woodland here into Fanatic of Ronus. And that will let us cast Bristlebud Farmer on turn 3 if it survives. We can also Hex Drinker and then immediately level it up, which is pretty good. If opponent taps out, I do like that line a lot. Carnage Interpreter. It's not that good here. I think I'm going to play the Farmer. If they play something big off of the Elves of Deep Shadow, then I can kill it with Grist. And again, we can just wait for them to tap out of removal for the Hex Drinker. I don't want to play right into like Lightning Bolt or something like that. One, two, three, Fable the Mirror Breaker. Elf is going to hang back. Interesting. 1 mana black removal spells in this cube that kill Hex Drinker. Probably not that many. We could start off with the attack and see. Oh, actually, hang on a second. I forgot that Bristlebud Farmer just turns on the Fanatic. So we can actually do something like cast the Grist, sack the Fanatic to kill the Elves, and then we can even just cast the Fanatic again. That's kind of sick. Or we could go straight for the Hex Drinker and then Fanatic next turn. How much does this cost to eternalize? 4? Okay, let's add green, 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 green. And then we can go Grist. Yeah, Grist, sack the Fanatic. Make a Hex Drinker, and the next turn make a big Fanatic. I think that's pretty good. Getting the Fanatic into the graveyard here is valuable. And this way we can kill this now. And then if they float mana, we can move somewhere else, move to a different phase. Okay, they didn't even float the mana. We can just do this right now. And level this up. We still have a land for turn. We don't need it for anything. Let's... So next turn we can put only 4 counters on it. If we level it up now, we can get it all the way up to Progenitus mode next turn. Let's just hang out. I don't think the Bristlebud Farmer attack matters that much right here. And I'd rather save the Grist from the Goblin Shaman in case they do have a removal spell. We've got a strong plan for next turn. If they do remove the Hexdrinker, we still have the Fanatic. Surveil Nishoba Brawler into the graveyard. Soul Ring, that's pretty good. Bombardiers. So this is going to kill my Hexdrinker. Well, let's see. So they attack. They both go at Grist. So Grist is dead. If I block the Shaman token with Bristlebud, they don't have anything to throw at Hexdrinker to actually kill it. Or Bristlebud for that matter. So this is free. Because this thing only sacks artifacts. Oh, they can sack the Soul Ring and kill the Bristlebud Farmer. I think that's okay. I'm going to get to kill the Bombardiers, and so I'm going to be left with a Hexdrinker, and they're going to be left with nothing. Except the back of Fable. Yeah, okay. And I can even turn the Shifting Woodland into a Bristlebud Farmer if I want to continue to sack these foods for value. So let's pay the 3 life, kill the Bombardiers. This is level 4, so we don't have quite enough mana to get it up to 6. But I can play out my entire hand, including the Carnage Interpreter, which seems pretty good as well. So let's do that. Bitter Triumph, pay 3 life. Point this at their creature. Believe it or not, this is actually a spot where the red source does allow me to cast the Carnage Interpreter. The exact thing that I said probably wouldn't come up. This one is red and black, so it doesn't matter much, but the Taiga would have done it in that spot. Kind of funny. Alright, there's my 4 clue tokens. So they're going to have back of Fable, and they're going to have to beat all this with their 3 cards in hand, which is hopefully going to be pretty hard. I've got 14 damage coming in next turn if I activate the Shifting Woodlands. Instant, Planeswalker, creature, and land. Yeah. Oh, and enchantment. We're rolled up. Oh, Uro's pretty good. Wow, good thing Reflection doesn't just copy Uro with the trigger on the stack. It does have Summoning Sickness right now, but... Oh, there goes my Woodland, probably. That's unfortunate. I wonder if they'll try to cut me off red. No, okay. Smart. Very smart. And now they have a 6/7. Yikes. That's pretty big. Nature's Lore does not do much of anything here. It's actually worse than a land in this spot because now I can't get the Hexdrinker all the way up to 8. I'm going to have to probably just get the Fanatic out of my graveyard and then pass, I think is what this is. Tarmogoyf is scary big here. They're going to be able to hit me for 12. I could trade the Fanatic away. Like if I give them Fanatic or Carnage Interpreter for their real Tarmogoyf and then take 6, then they can't continue to Tarmogoyf me. But they are going to have an Uro? No, they need another blue source if they want to be able to Uro. Oh, just that one. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to take 6 here. Sack an artifact. I'm going to sack... That's interesting. I don't think I'm going to have time this game to crack all of my clues. So it's possible that the 3 life is actually just more relevant than the card here. No, probably not. Alright, I'll sack a food. Snapcaster Mage targets pick your poison. They want me to lose my other food as well. Maybe they just wanted to get value off of the Snapcaster Mage with the reflection. Like they wanted it on the battlefield for the reflection, and so they might as well cast a 1-drop to be mana efficient. Not sure. There's Boseiju. Oh, Boseiju kills reflection. That's really good. Alright, let's do it. Get that out of here. And I am going to cast this, make my draws a little bit better, and give us access to more mana for... Well, let's see. If we tap the Fanatic of Ronus now, we can get this thing up to 8. Yeah. I think that is what we want. Make a Progenitus. 1. And 2. And 3. And 4. And now I think we're just going to pass. We get to block the Goyf, and we get to crack in with our scary creatures eventually. Not to mention our, onboard Ancestral Recall. Likely to be relevant here. Okay, Uro comes in. I assume that's what this is. Green, blue, blue, green. Yeah. Get some card advantage, but you don't get to attack with it ever. I guess they can just make another one next turn. They can suicide attack it into the Hex Drinker. Yeah, I would love to block. Baleful Mastery is a great answer to Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath. So that's cool. And now I have good blocks for the Tarmogoyf. So I'm going to cast this. I'm going to cast this right now, just in case of some kind of counter magic. And then I'm going to get in. One or fewer cards on the Carnage Interpreter. It's kind of funny because if I double block the Tarmogoyf and then I tap the Fanatic of Ronus to crack 2 clues, it shrinks the Carnage Interpreter. So I actually can't do that. I could crack 1 clue. Also, if they put the damage on wrong, then I can do it during the combat damage step. No, that's not true because of the... I'd have to tap the Fanatic of Ronus before damage. Weird. Okay, they are going to crack in. I am going to double block. Okay, so they put the Interpreter first, which means I get to draw 1 card. Oh, no. It means I get to draw 2 cards. I just have to do it not right now. Okay, that's fine. Psychic Frog, pretty good. And in the end step here, I am going to crack 2 clues. Awesome. So what am I going to do about Psychic Frog? I can Necromancy a Grist and kill it. I can just race it with Hex Drinker. I can play a Hostile Investigator. I can make a Broadside Bombardiers. If I make a Broadside Bombardiers and I attack with all of my creatures, then they have to let 8 damage in, putting them to 7, but that does not kill them. They can give their Psychic Frog flying pretty easily. I could take their Bombardiers and sack a clue token to kill the Psychic Frog, but then they discard a card, perhaps, and I don't get to do that. I could then second main phase Grist them. And then they lose their card and their Psychic Frog. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to try that line. Mana Leak. Okay, that's interesting because that makes my Grist line worse. But now I can choose something besides... Oh, what am I talking about? I can't can't Necromancy the Grist and the Broadside Bombardiers, idiot. Okay. So if I pay for this, and then I take the Grist, and then I could also... Yeah, okay, so Hostile Investigator is really good here. I have a total of 7 mana to work with, so I can't pay for the Mana Leak and then also Hostile Investigator. I think I'm gonna just try to win the race on them drawing 2 cards a turn. Okay, they have discarded, that makes sense. And then I'm going to crack a clue now because otherwise I lose this mana. And then I'm going to go to combat and I'm going to attack with the Hex Drinker. Psychic Frog has flying, and that attack makes a whole bunch of sense to me. I'm gonna take 2. Oh no, that's a lot of mana. Pest Infestation. Yep. Got a bunch of 1/1s. So that's a lot of life. Garruk Wild Speaker is not allowed to ult immediately. It's probably a good thing. So I probably just cast all my spells, crack in for 6. Yeah. Opponent probably can't kill all of their creatures. They're gonna go to 3. I'm gonna make this Garruk. And then I'm gonna untap my lands and I'm gonna make this Sandstorm Salvager. And then I'll have plenty of blockers. Hopefully won't die in 1 turn and then should have them dead on the backswing. But they get to see 2 cards to find themselves an answer to it. And Psychic Frog additionally draws you a card even if it hits a Planeswalker. Kind of interesting new text on that sort of effect that you don't see very often. Alright, Psychic Frog has flying. Psychic Frog has flying. Yeah, that one's worse. Alright, I get a clue. Pretty kind to them. They're going to discard again, so I'm guessing they're aiming to kill Garruk here. Oh, they're going to my face. Okay, so they have something. That's unfortunate. Well, I'll block where I can. And maybe this is a hope that I will mess up, or maybe this is I have Lightning Bolt in my hand. But we'll see. Oh, they don't have anything in their hand. So they're just hoping to draw an out because they know they're dead. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Head into game 2 against 5-color Black Lotus control. 5-color expensive bombs that I can cast because I have Black Lotus. I don't know what this is, honestly. It's just a bunch of good cards and a Black Lotus and a Soul Ring. So, yeah, nothing really to bring in here. Opponent has an insane card quality and not that much of a game plan, so I don't know how I'm going to attack against that. Turn 1 Elvish Mystic. We have no way of discarding either of our things, but if we find one, we've got the reanimation spell right here. I think this is totally fine. We fold to a removal spell pretty bad, but I don't think we really even saw any removal spells out of this opponent. We can also just draw the land anyway. Soul Ring, that's better than my ramp spell. And Sentinel, okay. I could snuff out the Sentinel. I think that's probably smart. I'm gonna grab the tap land right now and just kill the Sentinel main phase. That thing is gonna get out of hand pretty quickly. Necromancy can stay because we already have the Archon and the Gruff triplets. Unless we want to try and dig for something that pitches it. Tough. We didn't see anything out of opponent that causes us to discard stuff. But we can also Necromancy the Sentinel, which is pretty good. I'm going to leave it on top. And then we're just going to go ahead and do this right now. Bang. We can grow the Sentinel to a 4/4 with just one map token, potentially, which gets us into tap Fanatic of Ronus for a bunch of mana and cast Gruff Triplets range. Okay. Mana Leak entered the revealed cards zone. And they binned it, so I don't have to remember that. That card is a lot worse when I know about it, that's for sure. So let's see. We can Necromancy. We have to take a whole turn off to activate the token, which is fine. All right, get our map. That's good. And we're going to activate that right now because that's sorcery speed only. Toxic. Toxic is bad here, I think. I'm just going to go ahead and bin that. We are about to do something way grosser than Toxic. 1, 2, 3, 7 mana. So if we rip a black source, we can cast the Archon, and if we don't, we will just trips. Trips Gruffs. Kraken for 5. I'm going to take that. This could be Mystic Confluence, which would be really bad for me. They do have double blue here. Maybe it's just... Okay, Leovold. That's fine. Bristly Bill. So we have a total of, once again, 7 mana here. So that's just going to be time for Gruffs. We can at least pretend to have something. Or we could also explore, I guess. I mean, we are going to Kraken for 4. I think we want to explore onto the non-token one because we do have this Reanimator spell here. Although we go dangerously low if we cast that on Gruff Triplets. Sick. So next turn is going to be Archon, if they can't remove the Fanatic. Oh, I guess they could remove the Fanatic or the Sentinel, because the Fanatic doesn't tap for 4 if I lose the Sentinel. Emergency Brainstorm. Okay, I lose the Sentinel. I don't get to have my 4 mana next turn. Cryptic Coat, pretty good. My life total is quite low, that's for sure. Okay, Forest is pretty good draw here. I get to cast the Bristly Bill. And then I might want to hang on to this Baleful Mastery. I can put the counter on the Gruff Trips. And then I get access to Baleful Mastery. So I'm thinking about attacking in with all of my triplets. No, that's no good, because if more than one of them die at the same time, then the triggers are worse. So let's attack with just the one of them, because we want them to die one by one to maximize the counters. And then, yeah, next turn could be an Archon. Yep, can't block there. If it turns out to be something that kills me when they turn it face up, then I can respond with the Baleful Mastery because it won't have ward anymore. Main phase, return Cryptic Coat, presumably so they can cast it again. Yep, makes sense. Oh, I could have attacked with the 4/4 last turn. I forgot that this cares about power. Yeah. I was thinking it would just put 3 counters no matter what, but it actually cares about the power of the creature that died. So let's see. I get to gain 3, and then I get to lose 3. Let's play this. Let's attack in with our 6/6. I guess if they... I was going to say if they remove this, then I lose the Ferocious, but that's not actually true because it'll just put the counters on the other things. Okay, 3 damage on the Leovold here, and that will kill it. That's great, actually, because now I get to draw the card off the Archon. 1, 2, 3, 4, black, black, 5, 6. Just right onto the stack. Exactly how I said I would not be able to do during the deck tech. Cool. All right. Headed into match 3. It looks like we went 2-2 in match 1 as well. So the team draft is still all tied up. Gonna be on the draw this time. Ooh, okay. Turn 1 ramp again. Exhume plus Archon, kind of cool. And maybe we get to try out this Sowing Mycospawn card. I'm gonna keep this. Oh, all these tap lands. Okay, Shifting Woodland actually enters untapped on the turn that we need it to cast Garruk. So we can curve Elvish Mystic into Indatha Triome into Shifting Woodland, and that would be a turn 3 Garruk. Oh. Okay. Unfortunately didn't hit the Archon there. That would have been pretty funny. I wonder if I want to Exhume the Mycospawn anyway. Oh, I cannot do that? Oh, I can. I can get the red-black source. I think I'm going to do it. It gets us a land back. We just continue ramping up into all the way up into Archon, maybe. Oh, it's a cast trigger. Whoops. All right. Well, not going to do that next time. Okay, so now we can make a Garruk if we want. And then next turn we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. Still no forest for our shifting woodland. Unfortunate. Oh, Lily. Don't mind if I do. So we can play Shifting Woodland, we can untap it. Oh, but it won't get, it will still have Summoning Sickness. That's weird. Why did they do that? I'm gonna block. Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Been got. Oh, because they discarded into the currency converter with Liliana, so it wasn't tapped. Yes, 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 yes. Well, I'm going to make a Bristlebud Farmer. I'm going to make a Shifting Woodland. And I'm going to make a 3/3. And next turn I'll have an Archon. No, that's not true. I do not have Delirium. Oh yeah, I do. I just sacked the Garruk. Okay. Yes, I knew that all along. I am going to have to sack the beast token here. Okay, so I can turn on Delirium by creating a beast token. I can turn this into an Archon. Green, green, black, black. And then I will attack Lily. They sacked their rogue. Interesting. Okay. Probably would have sacked the Lily, personally. But as should be obvious, I am not unguilty of misplays, including usage of the word unguilty, which is almost certainly not a word. Innocent is probably what most people would say. I'm not going to block here. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just take 5. I'm gaining 3 every turn. Abyssing them, etc. I can get in with the Bristlebud Farmer here too. Target Archon, green, green, black, black. Yeah, okay. They're like kind of poxy, honestly, between the Liliana and the Hymn to Turok. So, yeah, I don't know. Those cards are pretty bad against me since I'm Reanimator. Gonna be on the draw in game 2 here. Let's check on the draft results. Looks like my team has lost one of the final 4 matches here, putting us back 1 match. This hand looks good to me. Turn 2 Fnatic. Turn 3 either Grist or Sandstorm Salvager, depending. Totally fine. We even get to Surveil. Shock and Blood Crypt. Mana Crypt. Detect this Phoenix. Attack me for 2. Okay, I'm going to play this, and I'm going to pass, knowing that I can snuff out if I need to. If they make something really busted. They Companion Lutri. I presumably did that in the first game as well. I just didn't notice. There's Currency Converter. Emperor of Bones. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Yeah, so this thing like reanimates stuff. Put a creature card exiled. Yeah, so this can hurt my Reanimator plan. And I also can't snuff it out. I think I'm going to go ahead and snuff out the Detective's Phoenix just because I have other removal available to me. And I am going to take more than 4 damage from it at this rate. It also pressures the Grist, which... Okay. Oh, I have to fetch first. Underground Mortuary. Surveil 1. Bristly Bill can stay on top. Snuff this out. And we're going to shift. Got 2 card types in our graveyard, but Emperor of Bones is going to shrink that number pretty quickly. Put it down to 12 off of their Shocks and Mana Crypts. There's the Gitrog. Okay, gonna have to kill the Gitrog with Grist, probably. What if we block the Emperor? If we block the Emperor, we probably die to Grist. Or die to Gitrog, rather. Next turn we can Grist +1. Killing the Emperor seems so valuable here. But killing the Gitrog seems absolutely necessary. Okay. No blocks. They can turn their Emperor into a Gitrog, or whatever it is this does, puts the Gitrog back onto the battlefield, but only once. So that's gonna kill me, I guess. I guess I was dead either way. They can't be dead to their thing. Their Mana Crypt. So if I attack them down to 7 and then I kill, the Gitrog. They put the Gitrog onto the battlefield with Emperor Bones and they just kill me. Yeah, I think I'm dead either way. Unfortunate. What if I make more blockers? Can I stay alive for an extra turn? They can get a Detective's Phoenix, but they don't get a Gitrog monster. And they might not have good attacks depending on the crypt flip. Wow, okay. Now they are actually just dead. Torok. Take 2 of my cards. Okay, those ones didn't matter. Now they can attack me with Gitrog. They can activate Emperor of Bones in beginning of combat and attack me for 2 extra. And then I take double block. I have to double block. Well, let's see how they attack. Oh, they can't activate the Emperor because they're out of mana. So they take my Eternalized thing, and if I double block and then make a Grist and then kill their Emperor of Bones, then I can potentially block the Turok. Double block. No, because then I can't. I kill this, I have to go to 1. But that's what we have right now. Sacrifice this. Destroy this. Take 4. And if they have anything that makes me discard a card, I'm dead. Or basically anything at all. Oh, they had enough. Collect evidence. Okay, dead Zoes. Don't think that I had any other lines there. All right, I'm going to take the play. Two lands, Nature's Lore. Snuff out, Bristlebud. It's like fine. I'm going to keep it. We also get a Surveil off of our Underground Mortuary. I'd like a land here. Yeah, it can stay on top. So depending on what they have... Oh, they have nothing. Okay, so Bristlebud is going to be pretty good here. Let's try to put the pressure on early, and then Hostile Investigator when their hand is smaller and they're more strapped for resources. Now it's going to give me priority every single time because I can snuff out my own Bristlebud farmer if I want. Metamorph to make a Bristlebud. I'm going to cast this by paying 4 life. They can have the foods. They don't get any card advantage off of them. And I'm just going to keep shoving here. Attack. I would like to sacrifice a food. I'll take peatland, I guess. I do want to find my 6th land for Gruff Triplets. You can have a card, I can have a clue. And I'm also just presenting 9 damage here with 2 removal spells in my hand. They've got their 2 foods, but I don't know if they can afford to spend mana doing that. Okay, Blood Tithe Harvester. And Birds of Paradise. I don't think it's worth spending a removal spell on this Blood Tithe Harvester. If they want to trade it into my Hostile Investigator, I think that's fine. Sack another food. What are we going to get? Shifting Woodland? Shifting Woodland into Gruff Triplets? Yeah. And then we can even discard Archon to Bitter Triumph. Alright, I think this game is locked up. Here is the Gruff Trips. So an untapped mana source here lets us attack with Archon next turn. Pretty good. Alright, and we take the match. So that's 2-1 with this deck. And we'll see if we can watch any of the other games going on. Alright, we are spectating a game here between Swellmate and Shallot. Shallot was our round 2 opponent, and Swellmate is one of our teammates. Looks like, yeah, it looks like Shallot tried to shoot the Surge Ginger with Soul Ring, and Selfless Spirit was sacrificed in response. So, don't know what that was. We're going to cast LED first. And then we're maybe going to Luris. I think Swellmate is a Luris deck, I believe. Yeah, so here's Luris. And then we can LED and cast Selfless Spirit, and then Kraken with Surge Ginger. Or, yeah, Bubble's fine too. Oh, okay, that's 5. Oh, and then we crack LED for lethal. Sick. Okay, good line. Nice job. We can give Surge Ginger protection from green, and then attack for 6. I don't know what the game record is here, so I mean, this might be the match. Not sure. Okay, match tied 1-1. So headed into game 3 over here. I'm keeping an eye on the results of the other match as well. Okay, so something went wrong with the match, and they had to start game 3 over again. So we've swapped. I apologize that the camera angle is now reversed, as it were. But now Swellmate is on the other side, and we are watching from Shallot's seat. Battle of the broken 1-drops here. Kind of funny. This looks a lot like 2013 Legacy. Except for the Mother of Runes Lion's Eye Diamond start, I guess. Prismatic Vista, pretty good with Deathrite Shaman. I don't know if we're going to see a 3-drop here on turn 2. Collective Brutality, pitching Smirking Spelljacker. Force pitch, no more lies. Alright, that Mother of Rune's very important to Swellmate, looks like. And the old Kraken for 1 with Deathrite Shaman. Hallowed Fountain enters tapped here. And just passing. Okay. Mother of Runes is really valuable when you have Lurrus of the Dream Den in your companion zone. So I'm not super shocked about that Force of Will, even with no 2-drop to follow it up. And Cryptic Coat from Shallot. This card definitely almost killed us when we played against Shallot. Swellmate pays 4 life for Dismember, going down to 14. This is kind of interesting. We could play our 3rd land and potentially just discard our hand to put a Lurrus onto the battlefield. And then play LED or something like that, depending on what our last 2 cards are. If our last 2 cards are like land, then I would probably just do that, honestly. Or possibly even something to cast off of Lurrus. Oh wow, attack with Mother of Runes. What is that? I don't know why we would want to do that. Huh. And now we have 3 mana up. Okay, here's a Neshoba Brawler and End-Step Mystical Tutor. Interesting. I wonder what that is going to be. Balance. Oh, okay, that's pretty sick. So, I see. We wanted opponent to block the Mother of Runes so that we could blow them out with Balance. That makes sense. Okay, so opponent discards 3 cards and sacks a creature. And we get to put Lurrus into our hand, but we cannot cast it. They can return Cryptic Coat. I'm a little worried about that exchange. If we don't rip land, then what are we doing? I mean, we are a Lurrus deck, so all those we either draw a land or we draw something we can do with 2 mana, or we draw like Fractured Identity or something. That would be really bad. They sacked their blue sword. Wait, they didn't sack their blue source? Oh, their blue source was Deathrite Shaman. Okay, so they can't. They couldn't have returned Cryptic Coat until now. Here's Selfless Spirit. Okay, I'm glad that it's going to take 2 whole turns for them to get the Cryptic Coat back onto the battlefield. But we are way behind on life. I guess we can double block and give the... We could give the Spirit protection? That's probably a little bit better with the Lurrus. I don't know. Hard to say. Targeting Mother of Runes. I think that's also perfectly defensible. Oh, they have a follow-up. We did see a Leovold out of this deck. Yeah, that's probably not good. Even so, I think going land Luris LED here is pretty good, but it looks like we didn't draw it. Oh, okay, looks like my other teammate won their match in the meantime. So if Swellmate wins this game, then we win the draft, and if Swellmate loses this game, then the draft ends in a tie. Unless there's some kind of tiebreaker that I'm not aware of, such as game win percentage or something like that. Psychic Frog is going to break this parity right open, unfortunately. Ooh, okay. That's really good. I wonder what our other card is. We drew something that isn't a land. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be some expensive non-permanent spell that we just can't cast, I'm going to guess. Eventually, they're going to find a spot to pick up this Cryptic Coat and put it back onto the battlefield. Oh, God, that's really bad. Wow. Found the plains. So now we're back where we were before, except now opponent is going to have a Cryptic Coat in their hand. I think it is still possible for us to win this game, but we're definitely on the back foot. That much is clear. Here comes the coat, I imagine. Luris having lifelink is the only thing that keeps us in this game at all. Can we see the land? All right, that is gonna be a draw for the team draft. All right, well, a little bit of an unexciting end to that draft, ending in a draw there, but we did go 2-1 with this deck, which is cool, and we got to do some cool stuff. We cast an Archon of Cruelty off of Fanatic of Ronus. I think that card was really quite strong in our deck. Being able to bridge the gap between Reanimator and Ramp in that fashion is pretty cool because it is a card that cares about being in the graveyard, but also lets you cast your other big stuff if you draw them. So I felt pretty good about that card in the deck and also in the cube as a whole as an interesting sort of glue card. Similarly to how I've expressed previously about Shifting Woodland, which was also an all-star in this draft. We won at least one game entirely off the back of that card, just turning into an Archon of Cruelty every turn. And yeah, sowing Micah Spawn did not unfortunately get to do anything. The most impressive thing we did with that card was pay 2 mana to put it onto the battlefield with our Exhume, before learning that that is in fact a cast trigger, like many Eldrazi are. But on the whole, deck was cool. And all right, catch you next time.